No, for goodness sake, where on earth is he? Oh, let me just ring him. He needs to be making this announcement. He really does. Oh, phone's ringing. Oh, hang on. Hello, what's going on here then? Where are you? I need you back in the studio right now. We've got a major announcement. Well, I'm still on holiday, aren't I? What? But you were on holiday like 2 weeks ago and I did my last experiment. How are you still there? Yeah, well, I got given some extended leave, so I'm still out here abroad after all. Right, whatever. Anyway, there's been a major development though in terms of the footballing world. There really has. Gareth Bale has gone back to Spurs. I need you to be making that announcement today. What? Seriously? Spurs have actually signed someone who is a decent player? I didn't think that was possible. Yeah, no, honestly, they have done. I can't believe it either. They've also brought in Sergio Reguilón, the Real Madrid left back. I mean, let's be honest, he'll probably be more important to Spurs in changing up their system. But I mean, much like all the other footballing media, I don't want you to mention him at all and never bring him up, even though he is going to be more important, in my opinion. Yeah, we're just here for Bale, that's it. We just want that done. Right, so what you're telling me, basically, is that you need me to present without being in the studio, basically, then? Yeah, you can do it. Possibly. Give me 2 secs. Oh, brilliant. Right, how's this? Will this do? Yep, that'll do. Just hurry it up, all right? Perfect. Right, thanks. So, breaking news. Gareth Bale has made his return to Tottenham Hotspurs, the club he left for what was a world record fee of £85 million to Real Madrid. Now, he has arrived at Tottenham on a loan deal until at least the end of the 2020-2021 season. And there is an option for Spurs to extend this deal until at least the end of the 2021-22 season as well. They will be paying approximately 40% of his very lucrative deal at Real Madrid. And I mean, let's be honest, considering the fact Spurs and Jose Mourinho have this option to extend the deal until the end of 2021-22, we can safely assume he will have that extension put in place. So really, we can say Gareth Bale will be at Spurs for at least a good few years. Hey, no, I haven't said for you to say that. And conveniently as well, at the end of that season is when his contract with Real Madrid ends. With the fact that his contract ends at the end of the 2022 season, we can safely assume that Tottenham will most likely sign Gareth Bale on a permanent deal as well following the ending of his contract with Real Madrid. So realistically, we can probably assume that Gareth Bale will be staying at Spurs for about 5 years when inevitably he gets given a 3-year deal with Tottenham at the end of his current contract with Real Madrid. Why are you making stuff up? Stop doing it! What a fairy tale ending to his career this could be. Well guys, that's everything we have on you for Gareth Bale and Tottenham Hotspur and their transfer dealings. From all of the guys here at State Sports News, well, really me I guess, because in fact I'm out here at the moment. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Oh, for goodness sake, I mean, at least you did your job, but how much of that was actually true? Flipping heck. Well, as he has just said, unbelievably, at the end of the day, Gareth Bale has returned to Tottenham. Cannot believe that he has done that. I mean, it's crazy to think that it has happened, that Tottenham have made a good signing of a possibly world-class player still in Gareth Bale, but it has happened. As a result then of Gareth joining Spurs, we're going to be making an experiment here in FM20 to see exactly what Football Manager reckons Gareth Bale may do on his Tottenham return. So let's get into this database and I'll run through with you all of the details of what will be happening. So then, here we are in Football Manager at the beginning of the 2019-2020 season. Now, of course, in real life, the actual signing of Bale to Spurs on loan has occurred in September of this year, so 2020, ready for the 2020-2021 season. That's quite tough to say in one mouthful, that's for sure. But because of that, and obviously the fact it's going to be going on with all of the new signings that have occurred in real life, I have actually downloaded and applied the most recent, or it was the most recent version of the Sort It Out SI database update, essentially with all the transfers and things like that. So I have linked down in the description below the database I'm going to be using. So if you want to use that, then feel free to go to Sort It Out SI's website and download that. But I have obviously downloaded that. At the time when I used it, Bale wasn't in the database, or at least for Tottenham anyway. He was obviously in the database for Real Madrid, but he wasn't in it for Spurs. So I've adapted that and placed him in the Tottenham side. Now, of course, as State Sports News mentioned, he wasn't entirely lying in terms of the whole 3-year loan deal and things like that, because as he mentioned, and as has been said in real life, Bale has gone to Spurs on a 40% loan deal. In other words, Spurs are paying 40% of his wages, and there's the possibility of his loan being extended to 2022. Obviously, it depends on if he gets injured and what Jose thinks of him and how he performs and stuff, but I have kind of taken that to likely mean that he will be having that loan extended. So I have made it so his loan will go on from the beginning of the 1920 season until 2022. So essentially he'll be on loan at Spurs for 3 years, and then conveniently that is when his contract at Real will expire. So again, I have taken that to mean that Real Madrid will likely either sell Bale off to Spurs, or Spurs will just sign him on a free transfer when his contract expires. As such, he will be joining Tottenham on a permanent deal in this database. So I'll just show you Gareth now before we get going. So let's find him now. Gareth Bale, here he is. He's coming up as a Tottenham player. You can see he's on loan. If we look at his contract, he is on loan from the beginning of this database until the 31st of May 2022, and he will be joining Tottenham. As we can see here, he's going to be joining on a permanent deal on a free transfer on the 1st of June 2022. And I don't know how long Spurs have signed him now for contract. I couldn't determine that because it was a future contract. The game kind of just has to do it itself. So we'll see what he comes to when we get to the period of time when he gets given that permanent deal. But this is Gareth Bale as a Tottenham player. So we will go forward now either 5 years, or if he retires possibly, or maybe even leaves Spurs before that. Essentially, we will go to the point where either 5 years comes up and his contract at Spurs ends, or if he retires or whatever happens essentially. So let's find out in Football Manager what happens with Gareth Bale. I'll also just mention, guys, before we fully get going into the database, if you do enjoy today's video, then please do make sure to leave a like on it. It really does help the channel out. And also, guys, if you do want to see any more of my content, whether that be any experiments or any of my regular content with the Stones Run Up, where I take Maidstone United from the lower league of English football to the top, then do subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with everything that gets released on LS Plays FM. In terms of any other experiments, I will be linking them at the top of the video for you to have a look at, such as my 250 years into the future experiment, so do feel free to take a look at those. But let's get into this database and see how Gareth does at the end of year 1 with Spurs. So here we are then, it's now 31st of May 2020, the end of the very first season in Football Manager 2020. So let's take a look at the Premier League and Tottenham Hotspurs and see, number one, how they've got on with Gareth in the side, and then we'll look at individually how Gareth has done as well. So if we go to Leagues in Focus and we look at the Premier League table, we can already see Tottenham Hotspurs are up there in 4th place. So they have done better than what they did in real life with Gareth in the side, because of course Tottenham finished outside of the top 4 with Jose Mourinho after Pochettino got the sack in real life, obviously last season, before all of the season got stopped and then restarted, etc. But they have done better. They finished on 71 points, so they have done pretty well with Jose as manager. So let's open up Spurs here. Let's go, first of all, just take a look at their schedule and just see, did they win any other trophies at all, or did they just kind of finish in 4th place? Looks like they got to the EFL Cup final, and they actually did. So they won the League Cup final, so they've already won a competition with Bale. And Bale actually scored in the Cup final there at Wembley, I've just seen. So already Spurs have done better, arguably, with him in the side. They got to a Champions League quarter final, and they lost it in the semi-final of the Champions League as well to Liverpool. So we can safely say Gareth Bale being in the Tottenham side has helped them out, that's for sure, because they've had a far better year than they did in real life, without a doubt. And let's also just have a look then at the Spurs squad. So where is Gareth? Well, here he is at the top. So if we just sort the team by goals and so on, so he is about 5th down for goals in the Tottenham squad. He played 41 games in all competitions. He scored 12 goals. He didn't get a single assist, mind you. That's pretty surprising. He didn't get a single assist at all. I presume they were playing him on the right of the team. Yeah, they were playing him at right wing, were Tottenham. So very surprising to see him getting no assists at all. He did get a 7.16 average rating. How did he actually do in the league? He got a 7.24 average rating and 9 goals over 28 games. So a very, very decent year for Gareth back in the Premier League. That is for sure. And as I've already said, the fact that they've done so much better in the league as well, Tottenham, it certainly looks like, at least in the first year of the game, for Football Manager anyway, that Gareth would work out pretty well. Of course, we're now going to be approaching the 2020-21 season, which is the real season where he has joined Tottenham. So it'll be a bit more interesting to see how he does get on. I think also it might be worth us checking out Gareth's injury history because, of course, in real life, everyone knows with Gareth Bale, he's a fantastic and world-class player if he can stay fit. So I'm interested to see how many injuries he had in the first season in the game, if he had many at all or if he didn't have any whatsoever. So, of course, we want to look from June 2019. So we can see basically straight away he did his hamstring in, not for very long, just a few little niggly kind of small injuries. Had a bruised shin, a bruised knee. He then fractured his toe for a couple of weeks, twisted his ankle for a couple of weeks. He got concussed for a couple of weeks. And again, another few little niggly injuries. So overall, he probably missed about 8 to 9 weeks. In fact, actually, no, it might be slightly more than that. It might be about 9 to 10 weeks. But it's not as bad. But that still is a fifth of the season, pretty much, that he has missed. So it looks like, in FM at least, his injury problems are going to continue. So it'll be interesting to see if next year in the game, if that happens as well. Because, of course, that is what I think in real life anyway is going to be the major factor with Gareth, if he will succeed or not at Tottenham, is if he does stay fit. Now, also with Tottenham, has Jose stayed? Jose is indeed still boss, so that is good. And I'll also just let you know as well, in terms of their transfers, Tottenham, they did also sign the likes of Joe Hart, Højbjerg and Matt Doherty, because they had all happened in the Sorted Out SI database. Interestingly, I don't know why Doherty is there for £75,000. Oh no, that looks like that was how much Wolves signed him for. I think that's just a graphical bug by the game. But so in terms of everyone else, everyone is there except Reguilón. So essentially, I didn't want to put Reguilón in as well because I thought we'd just focus on Bale for this one. But overall, we can safely say year one has gone very well for Gareth Bale, Tottenham Hotspurs and Jose Mourinho. That is for sure. So here we are then, now ready for the second year of the experiment. I'm ready to see if Tottenham Hotspurs and Gareth Bale have either improved possibly upon last season or if they have gone backwards. Now, of course, this is the equivalent of what would be the real life season because, of course, this is now the end of the 2021 season. And, of course, that is the season we are now going into, having just started it in real life with, of course, the most recent Premier League fixtures where I think Tottenham smashed Southampton 5-2 on the weekend. So have Tottenham with Bale done any better than last season? So let's have a quick look. Let's go to our Leagues in Focus page. And it looks like Tottenham have again finished in fourth place. They have got more points, mind you, than last year if we have on the league table. Last season they had 71 in the game and this year they've got 78. So it has been a better year from Tottenham. Let's have a quick click on them. So they've still got Mourinho in charge, which is interesting to see. And let's have a quick look on their schedule, shall we? Let's see if they've won anything else. Of course, they were in the Champions League again after they finished fourth last year. So they had all the group stage games. It looks like they went out of the EFL Cup in the third round this year, and they didn't win it unlike the previous seasons. They went out on the very first hurdle. The FA Cup, how far did they get through? So third round, looks like they got smashed there in the Champions League. So I presume they went out. Oh no, apparently not. Apparently they lost the first leg against PSG 4-0. And then, just as PSG like to do, they threw it away. And then they lost the second leg 5-0. So Tottenham managed to make it through. Mind you, notably with a Gareth Bale brace in that game. So the FA Cup, they got through the quarter-final. Tottenham got through into the Champions League semi-final, it would appear, and they actually made it through to the final, and they got all the way again to another Champions League final, and they lost again at that final hurdle, this time to Man City rather than Liverpool, as of course happened in real life as in Poch's last season. And also looks like they got to the FA Cup semi-final and they just about lost there as well. So very much a nearly season this time around from Tottenham. Not quite as successful, I suppose you'd say, as the first one when they actually had some silverware. But then again, they did reach a Champions League final. So depends Depends on what you determine as success. Is a Champions League final better than a cup win? It's difficult to really tell. But let's have a look at Bale. How did he do in now his second year on loan at Spurs in the game? And of course, what would be the real life first year of him being at Spurs, having happened in real life. So Gareth at the top, unsurprisingly, with a little injured icon against his name. And he has played 46 games, so he has played a lot of games this year. He's scored 15 goals and had 7 assists. So overall, a better season than last year. So despite being a year older, he's had a better season. Let's click on his name and just take a look. So it looks like some of his physicals are actually starting to go down, because I'm pretty sure a few of these are 16s, 17s, and there's none of those now. So it looks like maybe his age and those injuries may be taking a toll a little bit. Let's have a look at the overall history. So in the league, he played 31 times, scored 9 goals once again, got 2 assists this year, but his average rating did drop from a 7.24 to a 7.13. So, I mean, a good year still nonetheless, but not as good as his first. And it looks like in Europe he did pretty well. He got 5 goals in 12 games and 5 assists. So a pretty good time in European football, that's for sure, did Gareth. Now let's just have a quick look at his injury, shall we? So of course last year he missed about 9 to 10 weeks of the season. And this season he had a pulled groin, a bruised knee, another bruised knee. He broke his nose. He sprained his wrist ligaments. He pulled his hamstring, did a bruised knee and a bruised thigh. He didn't have as much by looks. He had quite a few little niggly little injuries, but overall it looks like he missed maybe about 5 or 6 weeks. So he missed probably about 10% of the season, roughly, maybe 12, 15%. So not as many games missed. So if that happens in real life, I reckon Spurs actually would be pretty pleased with that. And I reckon Gareth Bale would as well, considering the injury problems he has had in his history. Only missing, say, 5 weeks wouldn't be that bad. But overall, you'd probably sit and say that's a worse season from Tottenham and from Bale, at least in my opinion anyway. He certainly hasn't contributed as much with his average rating anyway. He's had a better year in Europe, but not as good a year in the league. But I suppose it swings and roundabouts really in terms of what you determine is good or bad. Still, we have 1 more year left of his loan. So let's get to the 3rd year of the experiment and see if Tottenham, in his final year on loan at the club, do any better or any worse, with Bale at what will be 32 years of age. So then guys, here we are now in our 3rd year of our experiment of the Bale simulation back at Spurs, and we're now in what will become the final year of Bale's loan after, of course, Mourinho has extended, etc. And of course, as we all know, at least in this database, the end of the 3-year loan Bale was given from Madrid to Spurs. So let's get straight into the Premier League and see if Spurs did any better or any worse than their 2 4th place finishes in the Premier League. So here we go, leagues in focus, and they have done worse. Deary me, Tottenham have dropped out of the top 4 for the first time in our experiment. They have dropped into 5th place. They've only dropped 3 points from last season. They've still got more than what they had in the first year, but unfortunately for them, it looks like it's just not enough in terms of actually keeping them inside of the top 4. So let's have a quick look. It says they are going to be in the Europa League, and I've already seen straight away, Mourinho is gone. He has been sacked, and it looks like a 5th place finish wasn't good enough. So I'm going to presume then that probably Tottenham didn't win any other competitions. Let's have a look. So the EFL Cup, they got through to the 4th round, they got to the quarter-final. Looks like they lost in the semi-final of the EFL Cup, and the FA Cup they lost in the 3rd round to Man U. And the Champions League, they went out at the first knockout round as well. So a really, really just mediocre season from Spurs. And I can see why Mourinho got the sack in the end. It's not surprising at all. Now, I'm also noticing on here a goal scorer for Tottenham in Florian Thauvin. So does that mean what I think it means? Because Thauvin, of course, plays on the right wing, as does Bale. So does that mean that Bale isn't playing now? Let's have a look at the players. So let's sort them by name. There he is. There's Gareth. Oh dear. Oh dear me. Looks like Gareth is not getting much playing time. And as of course his loan's coming in and he's about to join on a free transfer to Spurs, I am a little bit worried now that I'm seeing this because I haven't simulated the next season as of yet. So I wonder what's going to happen next year. But it would appear that Gareth has played 31 games, of which he has only started 11 of them. 20 were substitute appearances. He scored 1 goal and got 1 assist. That was it. A 6.7 average rating. Overall, a really poor year from Bale. has to be said. I mean, I don't know how much of it is his fault, but it looks like he's just not being played. Although he says he's played at left wing there. So maybe he is getting games. I don't really know. But the stats would suggest otherwise. His physicals are really dropping off, that's for sure. Let's have a look at his stats in terms of the overall season. Yeah, 23 games in the league. That was all, of which only 8 he actually started. 1 goal, 1 assist. That is so poor. And this is, of course, only the 3rd season in our experiment, and what will be, of course, the 2nd season should the loan with Spurs get extended in real life. So that does not suggest a very good future for Bale at Spurs if this is what ends up happening. That's for sure. Let's just have a quick look at his injuries. Did he get really injured or something? Is that why he dropped off? So he won about September 2021. So it doesn't really look it. He had a tight calf, he twisted his ankle, bruised his ankle, tight hamstring, twisted knee, bruised knee. I mean, at max, that's about 5 weeks, 6 weeks again. So he's really not had that long in terms of time off. So I'm surprised he's really just dropped as quickly as he has done. His physicals especially are awful now. He has 9 acceleration, so I can see why they're not playing him. But oh dearie me, that is really just quite sad to actually just see how quickly Bale has declined. Only 32 as well, it's worth noting. He's 32 years of age and his physicals have just tanked. And I mean, of course though, we still are going to be seeing him at Spurs. Whether or not he'll be playing many games next season, now I don't really know what to expect. It also depends also who comes in as well, maybe what formation they play. Maybe they play the formation, it might help him out. Because of course, his loan is about to expire, but he is about to then join Tottenham tomorrow in game. So we will have to now go forward to the 2022-2023 season and see how Bale does as a permanent Tottenham Hotspurs player once again. So here we are then, now year 4 of the simulation with Gareth Bale, and now the first full year of Bale being a permanent player back at Spurs on our database at least. So of course last season he had begun to drop off a little bit in terms of actually being a Spurs first choice. So I wonder now that he's actually a permanent player, how have they gotten on? And also, of course, now Spurs have got, I imagine, will be a new manager as well after Mourinho got sacked at the end of the 2022 season. So let's take a look and see how the Premier League finished up. So, wow, okay. Tottenham have had a really bad year. They finished now in 7th, the lowest points total of the entire save, the entire experiment so far. They only managed 63 points. I'm going to presume their manager got the sack again, which they have. Who did they bring in? So they had Bill, so he didn't even last a year. 335 days. That was all he managed. He literally got sacked a week ago in game. So a very poor season. Did they do well in any other competitions? So, of course, they were in the Europa League this time around. The EFL Cup, they got through quite far by the looks of it. They got into the semi-final. They actually won in the semi-final, and then they lost in the final of the EFL Cup, unfortunately for them. FA Cup, they went out in the 4th round to Arsenal, never good for Spurs. And the Europa League, they got through to the semi-finals and they lost there as well. So not a brilliant year for them. No victories in any competitions in terms of actually winning anything major, and a really poor showing in the league. Now, I haven't seen Gareth's name at all in any of the goal scorers, and I am a little bit worried in terms of that because I would hope to have at least seen him maybe once, but we haven't. So let's have a look at the senior squad. Let's search by name. And where is he? Bale. I cannot see him. Have they sold him? Has Bale left? Okay, Bale's not left, so he's still at the squad. Where is he? Let's just click on his name. He's in the under-23s. Okay, Gareth Bale. Let's go and have a quick look at you then. Gareth Bale, he's into the under-23 squad, which is never a good sign. And, oh my God, he's retiring. Oh no, Gareth is retiring. They signed him on a 3-year deal on 400 grand a week, and he's only going to make it a year into it. Is it? And yeah, he's retiring in a month's time. Oh, did he even play? Did he even play a game? He didn't. He did not play a single competitive match for Tottenham after they signed him on a free transfer. They've just paid him 400 grand a week to just sit around and do nothing. Literally, he's just playing golf. Oh my goodness. So he has his 3 loan spells in the game. He joins on a free transfer and they just go, yeah, no, see you later, Gareth. Oh, that's really sad. I actually feel quite sorry for him. Oh my god, I've just seen his physicals though. Holy hell, his physicals are horrendous. Flipping heck, how has he dropped off that much? Did he have a really bad injury this year? Injury wise, let's go to 2022. No, he had 1 injury. He had 1 for 3 days and he's just gone. He's just completely tanked. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that at all. So, I mean, the plan was to go 5 years to like 2025 because that's what I expected Gareth to get in terms of contracts, what the game gave him. But his body has just not held out for that amount of time. So we'll go to the day that he's going to retire on, which is, what was it again, the 21st of June. We'll go forward to that in only 3 weeks. And I guess we will see Gareth retiring from football. So I will see you then in a second for that as well. So then here we are, we're at the 21st of June, the date that Gareth Bale gave us as his day for retiring. Let's go and find him. I seriously cannot believe that this has happened already. We're only essentially 4 years in. And here he is, he's now a director of football and a pretty horrendous one at that. Poor old Gareth. I mean, I say poor Gareth, he's getting paid 400 grand a week, but I can't believe he's already retired. He's completely scuppered my plans for the experiment. The idea of what he said was to go about 4 or 5 years in, was about to go to like 5 years, 2025, something like that, and see quite how well he does. And Gareth has completely messed that up for me. But regardless, it's possibly shined a light on what may happen should Gareth decide to stay at Spurs, or if he gets his loan extended, stuff like that, that perhaps his body won't hold out. Because that, of course, is the big thing with Bale, is will he be fit enough to still maintain that highest level of quality? And according to Football Manager, he may be able to do it for the first year, but not much more after that, which is both really sad and also quite comical. But that is essentially what Football Manager thinks will happen with Gareth Bale on his return to Tottenham Hotspurs. So then guys, that just about wraps up our experiment video here today with our simulation of Gareth Bale back at Spurs. And it is both a success in my opinion, because it's highlighted kind of how well he could do early on, and it's also kind of highlighted as well the flaws and the risks, I suppose, of trying to get Bale into any squad really across world football, in the sense that while he's an outstanding footballer, especially technically, his physicals are where the issue lies and his injuries. And this has proven it, I would say, in kind of what my own thoughts are with Bale, is that yes, he is fantastic, and on his day he's unplayable. And as was seen in the early seasons at Spurs, when they were doing well up in the top 4 and challenging for competitions such as the EFL Cup and the Champions League, but as soon as those physicals drop, Bale just loses so much of his ability. Hence the reason why at the age of 33, which is crazy, he has retired from football. And whether or not something similar may happen in real life, we can only wait and see. I hope, really, for his sake and for the Premier League, really, that he just absolutely rejoins with an absolute blast and just kills it, because it would be fantastic to see. Because as a Premier League fan, as long as he doesn't do it against Manchester United, I will be very, very happy to see him doing well. I'm already considering getting him in my fantasy football team, so it'll be interesting to see quite how well he does. I hope for his sake he does do well, but at least in the eyes of Football Manager and the simulation here, he isn't going to have a very happy future, unfortunately, back at Spurs. Regardless though, guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's experiment. If you have, then please do chuck a like on the video for me. It really does help the channel out. And let me know down in the comment section, number one, if you thought something similar may well happen with Bale, and if not, give me an idea of what you might actually expect to happen in real life with him. I'd be really interested to kind of see what all of you guys think could happen with Bale being back in the Prem. Do you think he will stay at Spurs as well after this loan or not as well? Do let me know down below. Also, guys, let me know as well what you thought of this experiment, and also what you would like to see in any future experiments. I have one more planned currently for this FM, and then we'll have to obviously see how long we have until FM21 comes out. Most likely around November time. We'll have to wait and see with that. But guys, if you are looking forward to seeing as well any more of my content, whether it be any of the experiments that I do or any of my regular Football Manager saves with Maidstone United in the Stones Rolling On Up series, then do subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of my content here on LS Plays FM. You'll also find right above me, over this side of the screen, a link to my previous experiment, the 250 years into the future video. So if you do want to have a look at another experiment, just give that a click and you can then have a watch of that. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I will see you again next time.